Hi everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Gaming It Out. You can call me Gigs, and we're here with 10 quick tips for Valheim. You can turn off motion blur and bloom in the graphics tab of your settings. You can also turn off camera shake in the miscellaneous tab. You can auto run with Q, which the game does tell you. What it doesn't tell you is that while you're free looking, you can use your right click to steer and change which way your character is going. And you can do this by holding it down or looking in a direction and then just right clicking and your character will change to that direction. You can also sprint while you're auto running and do the same thing. If you jump or hit a movement key, your character is going to stop moving. So earlier in the game, you're going to want to hunt some deer for multiple reasons, and you're going to find it pretty difficult to chase them down on foot. So we're going to talk about how to do it without a bow and how to do it with a bow. So we've got our knife out. I have a copper knife. This will work with a bone knife. And you want to sneak, and anytime you're sneaking near something, it will be leveling up your sneak ability as well. Some important things to note right here while we're trying to sneak up on this deer. On your mini-map, that little arrow in the bottom left corner of your mini-map, that's which way the wind is blowing. You can also tell by the little wisps of wind that blow by on your screen. That matters. So you want to try to stay downwind, because if the wind is blowing in from you to the deer will smell you and freak out, and that's when they become really hard to catch. So try to stay downwind, sneak up behind them with your knife. Your knife does really, really good sneak damage, so you can get right up behind them, and it's going to be a one-hit kill. Even with the bone knife, the knife does really good sneak damage. So just sneak up behind them and have some patience rather than chase them down and drive yourself nuts with that. All right, here we've snuck up on another deer. If you want to crouch and sneak around to get into a good position where you feel more comfortable in the shot, by all means, go for it. The big thing is you don't want to spook them before you take your shot, because again, chasing them down is really annoying. But the thing with the bow, and you'll figure it out the more you use it, is you really want to aim a good bit over what you're trying to hit. You see how high we aimed, and it looked like it went straight out of our bow, straight to the deer? It's one of those things where it's going to feel real wonky, and it's going to be really aggravating at first. But once you have an eye for the distance, you'll have an eye for the distance, and you'll be good to go. One of the aspects about this game that I really like, that I really appreciate, is the food system. So you can find mushrooms, you can find berries, you get meat off of hogs and necks and deer and things that you kill. And you can't, there's plenty of other food in the game too, but those are some easy ones that you'll find early on. And you can't just, there's no hunger meter, so to speak, that you just keep full by spamming a certain type of food, which has always kind of annoyed me in certain games. You know, you find that one food source that does the most for you, and you just keep a stack of those on you and you're good forever. I like that this game kind of forces you to have a balanced diet, so to speak. So you'll notice down here, you've got your health meter, you've got this little food bar, and then you've got 3 slots, which means you can have 3 foods in your body at a time. And if you hover over the different things that you can eat, you see the benefits you get from them. So you can try different combinations for different things you want to do. If you're planning on making a long run and a big loot run, maybe you want to eat foods that particularly boost your stamina and increase your stamina regen. If you're about to go into a boss fight, maybe you want a lot more health, or you want a good mix of health and stamina. You play around and find things that work for you. I tend to like the cooked meat, the cooked neck tail, and a mushroom. That seems to boost everything pretty well. If my health is low, honey, you'll see you get 5 HP per tick. Just keep an eye on what the different foods are doing for you. The yellow mushrooms are pretty sick. Just know that you can't spam one food and be good to go. Eating food is going to raise your max health. It's going to raise your max stamina. They're going to affect your stamina and health regen. They're going to do different things for you. So keep an eye out for all the different foods you're going to find, and find different combinations that you like for different things. We're going to run in here and talk very quickly about a couple of basic workbench mechanics, but I wanted you to get a look at this base from the outside, and because if you like it and want to build it, you can check out the carded video that I'll throw up now, where we build this base from the ground up. So if you wanted to follow along and have this as a starter base, you can go check out that other video. We go over some of the workbench mechanics there too. But really quickly, once you have your workbench in shelter and you're able to use it, you want to make sure you're using this repair button. It'll be lit up when there's something in your inventory that you can repair. You want to make it a habit of doing this, because there's nothing worse than coming in and dropping off everything you grabbed from your last run, running back out to cut down some trees or go fight a boss or whatever it may be, and realize that your durability on something is low. You also don't have to just keep making new axes and stuff. I was doing that for a while before I realized. I don't know why, but the repair button just didn't stand out to me. Just make it a habit. Every time you run past your workbench, repair all your items. You can also use it to upgrade things in your inventory, craft different things. The workbench also has an area of effect. So if you get your hammer out and you bring up this menu, you'll notice you've got all these different tabs. The building tab, a lot of this will be grayed out like these pieces are if you're not near a workbench, and I'll actually demonstrate that for you now. So we've got our hammer out, and you'll see this white dotted line. Well, there we go. This white dotted line, that's the radius of the workbench. So if you step outside of it, everything in this menu is going to gray out. If you come back in, it's going to light back up. You can build outside of the circle. It's just how close you have to be to the workbench. If we step out, we can't build. If we step in, we can build outside of the circle. Okay, it's just how close you have to be to the workbench. Another quick tip involving the hammer is in your miscellaneous tab, you'll notice you have these wood stacks and stone piles. This is just an alternative way to store these items. So it costs 50 wood to make a log pile. When you destroy it, you get 50 wood back. And it just keeps you from having to fill all your chests up. So this would be several chests worth of storage. And instead, I can just stack logs outside and come grab them as I need them while I'm building, instead of having to run all the way back into my chest. And again, chest space. How am I trying to say this? Storage space is kind of valuable. You're going to notice you're going to be filling up a lot of chests very quickly as you're playing this game. So just make sure that you're going into your miscellaneous tab and making your wood stacks and stone piles, because they're much more convenient. One thing you want to be very cautious about in this game is swimming. Do not attempt to swim a long distance. You will find yourself in trouble very quickly. What's going to happen is as soon as you start the swimming animation, at some point this water gets deep enough. There you go. You'll notice my stamina starts to drain. It goes pretty quickly. I'm leveled up a little bit, so it's going down kind of slow, but still, if I was trying to even just swim to that land over there, I'd be in trouble. And you'll notice when the stamina runs out, you start to lose health, and it goes quick. So do not try to swim long distances. You're also going to catch yourself trying to do things like sprinting and jumping into the water to get a good head start. All that's doing is draining your stamina before you end up in the water. Be really, really careful about swimming, and be really, really sure before you decide to make a swim, because there's no going back. One thing you don't want to do in this game is underestimate the combat. The combat can ramp up fairly quickly, and there really is strength in numbers here. So if you end up with 4 of these guys even around you, it could be bad news for you. So there's a few things you want to make sure. One, you don't want to be out here on an empty stomach like I am right now. You see I've got 25 max health. So I'm going to create a little bit of distance from them. And I'm just going to eat a couple of pieces of food. You can see now I've got more stamina, so I'm able to move around and do more. And my health is slowly going to tick up now that I've eaten. Make yourself a shield. Make use of it. Let them hit it. Get real comfortable counterattacking. You don't want to be too offensive, because sometimes even if you're hitting them, if you don't stagger them, they can just hit you through your attack animations, and they do a lot of damage, and it will ramp up quick. So just be patient with your combat. That's the big thing I want you to take away. Don't do it on an empty stomach. Be patient with it, and don't be too proud to run away. You're gonna find yourself in times where there's 10 of those guys or more. There's gonna be brutes and shaman and all kinds of variations that are very dangerous. Don't be too proud to run away, because it's really frustrating to die a mile away from your base and have to run back and get all your stuff. Another one of the systems in this game that I really like, I always really appreciate systems like this in games, is the more that you do a particular thing, the more you level that thing up. So if we come into our menu here and look at our skills, you'll see all of the different skills in the game and what the level is of all of these things. They level up as you do them. So the more stuff you punch, the more you level up unarmed. The more you jump, the more you level up your jump. The more you run, the more you level up your run. So you can kind of specialize in whatever you want to specialize in. And you can spam some of these things up. If you just want to hang out by your base and dedicate some time to doing this, to level up your jump, that's a good way to do it. If you want to hang around your base and run in circles, you can do it. If you want to pick a spot by the shore where you know you're going to be safe and you can get back to land quickly, you can level up your swimming a good bit. If you want to level up your club, find a thing you can't break and beat the crap out of it. Or put your weapons away by hitting R, if you don't know that, and punch a rock. Well, it's not letting me punch. Yeah, there you go. You got to get down in there. But whatever you do, the more you do it, it levels that skill up. If you're playing with a friend, turn off PvP damage and just beat the crap out of each other with weapons and level them up. If you want to cheese it up that way. Otherwise, just let them level up as they level up as you play the game. And speaking of PvP damage, there's a few things that I want to mention. One, if you open up your map down here, you can make yourself visible to other players. So depending on what situation you're in, you can decide whether or not you want to be visible. So I'm usually just playing with friends. I don't do a lot of public server running around. So I'm always on visible to other players. I think you have to turn it on every time you join a game. I don't think it's ever on by default. So if you're playing with friends and want to be seen, turn that on. If you don't want to be seen, turn it off. Another thing is in your tab menu, here's your PvP damage. So if the swords are crossed, PvP damage is enabled. That means you can hurt your friends, you can hurt other players. If they are not crossed, then PvP damage is disabled and you don't have to worry about it. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. 10 quick tips that hopefully will help you have an easier start in Valheim. If you have any questions, drop them below. If you have any tips that I didn't go over in this video, feel free to drop them below as well. More information is always better. I'm going to be doing a video pretty soon on structural integrity, so if that interests you at all, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have a good one, and we'll see you next time.